Over the next 2 days, Desiree and I are heading into Glenafric to the isolated youth hostel at Alt Bay. In the course of about 15 miles, we'll be putting both a selection of jackets and lightweight tents through their paces. And to help us with the big task of getting everything in and out again, we've asked mountain men Fraser Fotheringham and Roy Stark to give us a hand. And with this sort of gear on test, for once we're actually hoping for bad weather. Buying outdoor gear is always a big decision, and in the next few programmes, maybe we can make that just a wee bit easier.
So what sort of things do you look for in a good waterproof jacket?
Apart from a nice colour, you mean? I guess things just feel quite pricey these days, don't they? I mean, you can spend a fair few £100s on a jacket, so you're certainly thinking about price. I think outdoor kits become quite trendy in a way, almost quite sexy, a lot more so than it used to be. Really quite good looking and bright colours and things like that. I think it's sort of almost targeting a different kind of market from maybe what it did 10, 15 years ago.
A real bugbear I've got as a hill walker is that I often feel that mountaineering jackets are designed by climbers for climbers. Even if it's the hill walker's model, they'll tell you the hood, fabulous hood, very voluminous, it can cover a climbing helmet. Right. I say, well, I don't wear a climbing helmet. So maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned. Well, I have to say, Desiree, this jacket's performing quite well, apart from the colour, which I've got a lot of friends who look at it and say, there's no way I'd wear that colour.
It's quite bright, isn't it?
A wee bit like a Belisha beacon. But I like it, you know, it's got this quite nice pocket in here, which is fairly deep, you know, and I guess you could get a map in there. But what I really like about it pocket-wise is inside are these two big poacher pockets. You could get a salmon in there.
I've got, well, pit zips here, which are great for just a bit of extra breathability. But the pockets that I have are longer, they come sort of further up. They also open from the bottom as well, which is a really good idea. So I could actually, you know, if I had my hip belt on there, I can still get my hands in my pockets for walking along. One thing I really noticed when I was walking up here that felt really breathable, I wasn't sweating at all. And that might be partly to do with the fact that there's this sort of wicking liner here too. It does make it feel a little bit bulky though.
So for 225 quid, middle of the range, the Mammoet Corona jacket, I think, is pretty good. Let's try another jacket on now. What have you got in mind?
Well, at the top of my rucksack here, I have frag hoppers.
Slightly more budget priced. I'm very wary about talking about budget prices. These jackets are £160. That's still an awful lot of money. But in terms of what you know, technical outdoor jackets cost, it's probably at the lower end. So what are your first impressions, Desiree?
I was a little bit dubious about whether I'd be able to use these pockets if I had a hip belt done up. But actually, I can fit them in just fine below the hip belt. So potentially could walk along without poles, my hands in my pockets quite comfortably, I think. What about you?
It really is a winter jacket. It's a sort of jacket, if somebody's just wanting to buy one jacket to do them all year round, to use in the summer for hill walking and, you know, the winter and everything, this would be a good jacket actually. Any negatives?
Well, I have to say this is not my kind of colour. And it would probably be one of the things that I would look for first of all in a jacket. I know that might sound shallow, but a lot of people really like earthy colours or muted colours, so I think a lot of people would like it.
You get a heck of a lot for your money.
Good, I think.
So, do you get an opportunity very often to come on a sort of backpacking trip like this?
Well, I was thinking as we were walking up there that I don't very often these days come into the hills just to walk anymore. I used to do it a lot, and I used to do it a lot for work, and I tend now to come in to go climbing or to access a ski descent or a mountain bike descent, and I was just thinking how nice it was to be in the mountains today just walking, because there's a simplicity about it that's really lovely. Feels good to be reaching the high point, Cameron.
It is, aye. It's the highest point of a walk. The Bealach na Scairn. So this is a rather nice jacket. I love the colour of that. How is it performed?
It's quite a new kind of fabric, I think, this neo shell, because I think it looks, feels and performs like a soft shell. but it's sort of technically waterproof as well, or certainly highly water resistant. It's really lightweight, really comfortable, not bulky at all, and I haven't been sweating in it, so it feels like it's really breathable.
Well, this one I'm wearing is from a company called GoLite, an American company who are very much into, as the name would suggest, lightweight equipment. Although this one isn't terribly lightweight, but it's a pretty standard jacket, I have to say. It's not a Gore-Tex jacket. They use their own Trinity fabric in this, which is supposed to be breathable and waterproof. And it's been fairly breathable. It's slightly damp inside, I have to say. Pockets are absolutely useless. The hip belt. I've worn a lot of GoLite jackets over the years, and this certainly isn't the best. We've got one jacket left
We do?
to wear today. Shall we get them on?
Yeah, let's
See
do
what
that.
they're like.
It feels really big and bulky. It feels like there's a lot of fabric round about here. I guess it's quite a robust jacket. The fabric feels quite heavy.
I mean, these jackets go by the same name. The High Trails men, the High Trails ladies. But they're actually quite different jackets.
They are,
Your
yeah.
pockets are different, the waist pockets are different. I think my bugbear about this jacket, which isn't too bad, I think it's a good all-round jacket, but it's heavy.
It is, yeah.
770 grams. Now, even for winter, I'd be looking for something in the region of 550 grams. But having said that, lots of people like the security of a big, heavy jacket, particularly in winter time. And I think with this jacket, that's exactly what they get.
It's a lovely spot here, isn't it?
Isn't it terrific? And it's a lovely place to camp. But I think we've got to go on a wee bit toward the Alt Bay Youth Hostel, because with a bit of luck, Fraser and Roy will have brought the tents in there and they've put them all up for us.
Do you think they will? Or do you think they'll be sat with their feet up having a cup of tea?
The good news is 3 are up. The bad news, there are still 2 to pitch. So it's time for a race to see who can erect them the fastest.
It's really tricky putting up a tent when you haven't the slightest idea what the end result should look like.
Oh, look at the size of these bags. That's unbelievable.
I guess this one goes in the front.
Okay, that's starting to look a little bit more like it.
Oh, I think I put that pole in the wrong way around.
Come on, Desiree.
Oh, voila, almost there.
I think I'm finished.
Voila! Hey!
I think I just had the edge on you in terms of time there, Cameron, but I think you've won in terms of how neat and tidy your tent looks. I've also placed it right on top of a big boulder too.
Now Desiree and I just have to sleep in them. Tomorrow we'll see how they've stood up to a night of wild, wet and windy weather. And we've 8 more jackets to try out too.